And welcome to continued coverage here of the Tencent LPL Summer. We're here with Week 3, Day 1 coverage. It's our second game here. Positive energy over on the left versus Royal. My name is Pastry Time, and I'm still joined by Papa Smithy. And Papa, we just saw a great game one there for OMG versus EP. You know, David versus Goliath. What have we got here for Positive Energy versus Royal?
Now we're locked in a match to kind of break up this four-way tie for second place. Right now, Invictus Gaming, World Elite, Positive Energy, and Royal all have a 4-2 record after 2 weeks of play. So this game will actually dictate the standings. Really, really important match coming out here. Positive Energy, the Caitlyn ban is something that comes out at me here. Uzi has really been rocking the Caitlyn over on the Royal side. It's been key to their sieging strategy and banning it out. A nice little ban there from Positive Energy.
You can see all the bans completed already here in this draft. Nice and quick here, these two teams certainly know what they want on the left there for Positive Energy. Twisted Fate, Nunu, and Caitlyn getting taken away there. And over on the Royal side, Elise, Zac, and Thresh, the picks out there. And as you said, you mentioned Uzi. Goodness, can that guy play AD carry? I mean, Chaos praised him when he was in China and saw him play, and we've been lucky enough actually to see Royal quite early on in their careers playing in the Chinese scene, and Uzi is just an absolute beast.
Yeah, a 15-year-old AD carry, not uncommon in the Chinese scene as kid from Invictus Gaming, also that age. And, I mean, China's AD carriers are kind of the thing that people always look to when they think of the Chinese region. Uzi, Wei Zhao, Kid, all fantastically strong. I mean, that's taking nothing away from Name on the Positive Energy, formerly known as Devil, another really highly regarded AD carry. Their AD carry mechanics, really, really strong.
You can see the picks here. It looks like both teams kind of have a plan here. Lee Sin was the first pick up there for PE. Royal answered with Jarvan and Ezreal. Definitely a go-to pick there for Uzi. It looks like Sona's being considered now, which I do like, to take away the Ezreal Sona lane, which is very, very popular. It's actually been popular for quite a while, and it kind of feels like China all the way back then was one of the regions that really liked and popularized that lane. Zed actually picked up in there as well, and I believe we have the return of our friend from the last game, because Pantheon is coming back.
And this is one of those things, you remember at the start of the previous NALCS, everyone seemed to be playing Xerath. There was a huge upswing in Xerath play, and then he kind of fell away very quickly. It almost feels like we're getting a repeat of that here, as there hasn't been Pantheon before this week 3 of the LPL. I mean, there was one Pantheon pick that I spoke about from OMG in the whole of the first spring LPL. 2 games, 2 Pantheons. What is it that we're missing here, Pastry Time?
I don't know. Maybe it's Pantheon week in week 3 here at the LPL. But yeah, 2 for 2 is pretty interesting here. And looks like Vi getting picked up in there as well. Not a jungle we've seen too long. I actually see the stats there flashing in the camera. Yeah, not a whole lot of Vi we've seen so far. And I believe on the other side there, that's Sivir.
What they were considering the Sivir. Now, Twitch will be an interesting pick here, as Vi against Twitch, point and click initiation against, fairly immobile, at least in team fights, AD carry. That's kind of a strong statement of intent from Nama if he does lock that in.
You could be looking for it. Twitch, a great AD carry, definitely someone you'd like to have on your side at almost any point in the game. But Renekton's going to get locked in there for PE. That's their last pick here in this draft. And you can see Twitch. Are we going to see it? Yes, we are actually there. So it is going to be that Twitch there for Name up against Uzi's Ezreal, and the last pick, Fizz. Oh my goodness.
Insta-lock Fizz for Whites. And it's worth noting here for long-time viewers of the Chinese scene, Whites and Tabe back together again. I know Tabe was on the Royal side. He kind of retired for a bit there, but back in the support, and it's a support Pantheon Pastry Time.
Yeah, he's loading into the game now, and that is, in fact, your eyes do not deceive you, support Pantheon there from Makako Tabi, also known as Tabe. And I mean, Whites and Tabi have been playing together for a very, very long time, as you mentioned. They are certainly good friends, and looks like they are going to take the love of some unconventional champions and play them in their respective positions. This is very interesting here, and I mean, Uzi's, we talk about how great a player he is. He's playing Ezreal's, kind of a self-sufficient AD carry in some senses, but that is very, very bold there. We saw mid-Pantheon from OMG in the first game here of this week being played by Cool. This is something very different, though, coming out from Royal.
Yeah, and support picks usually revolve around the 2v1 meta, right? You usually pick a support that's ranged just because you can push down turrets so much safer, so much easier from range. We saw Blitzcrank suffering against the Shen in a 2v1 situation because Shen could just taunt him under turret. He had to eat 2 or 3 free turret hits there. I mean, Pantheon, what does he bring in a lane? That's what I look at when I look at this pick. And he has a point-and-click stun, which is very strong. They can obviously 2v2 skirmish in a very, very strong way, but it's just such a bizarre pick. There's a lot of flavor to it, and I'm excited to see how this works out.
Yeah, you can see kind of defensive setup here for PE. Looks like Royal grouping up towards the bottom. They're going to walk their way through the tri-bush as Jarvan crosses in, and Name kind of knows what's up. I think he might have spotted them, but not too sure, and they're just going to chill in this bush right now and look for somebody. Looks like Tabe going to come through as well. We saw actually in the game we just mentioned, we did see Pantheon here this week. OMG, they set up a very nice level 1. They're using that Pantheon stun, so maybe can go again. We're all going to continue moving through, aggressively going, spotting out bushes there as well, using that Mystic Shot there from Ezreal. And this is just very, very standard, almost very kind of just moving through the brushes, wanting to make sure they get everything watered. They're going to put very, very aggressive wards down here. 2 wards being put down left of the brushes there in the wraith, and then kind of towards the bottom there, kind of linking that ward there. Near the red buff, but not quite in the bush inner. And, you know, that Royal are happy with that. They don't need to do too much here. They're going to take their buffs away in about 10 seconds time here. And
you have to consider that a level 1 win for Royal, because they have vision of their own red buff and the enemy complete red buff jungle. So they have a very, very good idea about Lee Sin's early movements. We all know about Lee Sin's dueling potential when he gets those 3 abilities, when he hits level 3. So they do have good tabs on the PE jungler here.
Yep, and looks like we may be seeing a bit of a shift here. In fact, both teams kind of smelling this one out here. We've got 2v2 mid lane as the call-in. I really like Pantheon in a lane like mid, where he can be very aggressive, throw out his spears in kind of the shorter lane, and, you know, definitely get a lot of kill potential. In fact, they love it so much that they're rotating here. Looks like Jarvan's going to come down towards the mid lane. We're actually going to send 2v1 up against Renekton here.
Now that's interesting to me, because if that was their original plan, they probably wouldn't have expected a Renekton mid. Maybe that was just where they, you know, after leashing, where they ended up, but they've really, I mean, it is of course a lane Pantheon, a lane Jarvan middle in a 2v1 situation.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvan, he can certainly do a little bit of 1v2ing, but it's been a while since we've seen that. I think logically they wanted the Zed matchup, but I guess they didn't want to swap down bot. I think White's probably comfortable in this situation in 1v1 down bottom, although we have more swaps actually. You can see Jing at his red buff just cleans up the last creep there. But, I mean, he can look for a ganky, but he's going to have to maybe pick his lane properly, because now it's 2v1 against Fizz, and maybe this is what they were trying to set up, you know. They wanted to get Pantheon where he could apply some pressure, and they wanted Fizz up against that Zed, because Zed's moved already from the bottom lane. He does not want to deal with that Fizz.
And I guess at this point, I'm trying to work out which lane matchup was so unfavorable that started this chain of events, that started this lane swapping coming out here, because, I mean, Fizz versus Zed sounds like a pretty even pressure matchup. I mean, Renekton versus Jarvan sounds fairly even. Clearly somebody wants to be avoiding a matchup here, but yeah, it does look like Fizz is the person who's been bullied around the most.
Yeah, it feels like White's wants his 1v1, you know. Fizz is a very, very strong duelist, and, you know, Zed's a pretty tough champion to deal with, but I feel like if anyone can maybe shut him down, it's probably Fizz. He's going to have a bit of trouble here as Zed gets his levels up, of course. The push is going to start here. It's already starting there, as White's going to do the best job he can to last hit under turret, but at this point, I was going to say they were started to swap, but I was wrong. Again, we have another one coming here. White's going to go towards the top lane, and we've got 2 again here in the mid, and this is so much movement here from both teams. And I think you're right, Papa. I think the person who's got the worst end of the deal is probably White's here. He's level 3 just. He was level 2 only a few moments ago, and he's walking back towards the top lane without creeps or experience.
I mean, the one thing I can say about having a support Pantheon is that if you're ever responding to an invade, or, you know, whether it's aggressively or defensively or swapping around lanes, he does have the highest base move speed in the game, so he is able to swiftly get between these lanes.
Clearly the genius of the pick here for Tabe. He knows. And I think
if we're going to swap, let's do it quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it gets level 6, you can teleport there as well. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I mean, you said the aggressive Twisted Fate, we saw him last time. I think that's a very fitting description for Mr. Pantheon. And for me, what's going to really make the difference, as always, especially in these early game situations, is jungle pressure. You know, we can see Lucky's level 4 now on Vi, maybe going to set up here towards the bottom lane. And at least, of course, picked up his buffs pretty quickly. Jing has not made an impact on any of the lanes yet, though, but if anything's going to break up a lot of this movie, it's going to be Vi at the bottom. Name in trouble. Godlike going through there as well, but Jing's in there. Going to be 3v2, and everybody's forced to back away. A good flash there as Vi turns around for a little bit of extra damage, and now mid lane, the turret dive is happening. Uzi very aggressively forward there, and first blood comes out as a beautiful, beautiful dive comes through for the mid lane.
And of course, the one thing I discounted completely, Pantheon's passive. He has a fantastic turret dive up, being able to completely negate one turret hit. Came up trumps there. And
again, there's kind of double combat summoners here. Ignite plus Exhaust, the old school here. No barrier required at all. Allows for a very, very aggressive dive there, and a fantastic play there from the mid lane. You know, not often we see Ezreal gets super aggressive, but certainly in that situation, and I think that's why they wanted to swap, is because they clearly have maybe practiced being aggressive with Pantheon support, because if you're going to pick Pantheon support of all things, you need to be trying to make kills happen early on.
And I guess it keeps Zed down from his, because I mean, Zed's playstyle is always fairly common. Regardless of the game, you want to pick up that Blade of the Ruin King and then start splitting, just because he has such strong wave clear with that item once he gets a few levels. Keeping him down in levels, keeping him anchored into the mid lane and having no flexibility to be able to split push or even get the farm for that first item, it's kind of like denying a Twisted Fate its ability to, become a global threat. It's just trying to hold down that Zed as long as possible.
Yeah, and it feels like, when you ask the question in the early game, which lane matchup is the most unfavorable? I don't think it's so much they want a good lane. I think they really want to shut down Zed. And, we kind of saw Whites. He got the short end of the stick. But, he's not doing too badly here up against Renekton. I mean, generally in a 1v1 lane, I think Fizz is going to be happy. And clearly Royal wanted to move around and try and shut down Zed. And they've got that finally now in the mid. And I think it might be too late to move again. But Jojo, I think, wishes he could right now.
It's because of the Fizz pickup. Whenever I see Fizz, I assume it's a counter matchup, but I have to remember that White's, he's probably most famous recently for just being the first person to really bring Kassadin back into competitive play. He was very, very happy to blind pick Kassadin, to pick him as soon as possible, just to, because of that late game pressure, because of his ability as a champion. He was so confident in his laning phase. Now he's picked Fizz, who has a favorable laning phase, but is not always picked. But he just is so comfortable in Assassins that he's picking it up right here.
Yeah, and Whites is just someone that has a very, very unique champion pool to him. Looks like Jing here going to get the Q out onto Ezreal, but doesn't really want to follow up. The spear shots coming through, but Pant there as well, and Tabe just trying to be relentless with his harass where he can. Actually just kind of going through the items here. Doesn't quite have any regen going, but seems to be using his mana well. Nice arcane shift actually there. Jing does actually get the Q out onto Uzi, but he's going to dash behind Pantheon for safety. And I mean, Lee Sin's trying to apply some pressure here. He knows Zed's having a little bit of trouble, but can't get too much done right here. Double Doran's Blade actually coming through here for Zed. But still, it's not quite enough, and we're going to swap again here. 2 mid now for positive energy.
Yeah, the double Dorans. I imagine the next item will be the Sightstone coming out for Lee Sin here. Just, a lot of early stats, a lot of combat stats. I mean, so many Dorans. There's 5 Dorans already on the positive energy side, just for that early game skirmishing into, of course, the utility items that we probably expect from that Lee Sin.
I believe they started 3, actually. I think Zed started 1. I know Lee Sin started 1 as Uzi. He takes a big chunk of damage in mid, getting expunged almost to death there, forced to back away. And Jojo finally with a bit of breathing room down the bottom is going to be happy here, clean out these minions as they come through under turret. Oh my god, Crescendo coming through as well, but Uzi gets out there, Name coming through with the spray and pray coming in, dies mid-animation for True Shot Barrage. And Uzi cannot be happy with the way that worked out, though. Fizz coming through as well. White's actually get exhausted there, but Playful tricksters himself out of the way, and a very nice kill there. And that's, I think, positive energy, if they were going to make another lane swap, that's probably the best result they could have got out of it.
Absolutely, and the Bilgewater Cutlass there, the earlier rush, having the 1400 gold to finish that item, came up trumps for Name.
Yeah, and you can see the Tear of the Goddess there for Ezreal's building up towards his Manamune. He's got his longsword in there as well. And Vamp Scepter, I don't think he had at that moment, so not really able to duel. Certainly a Bilgewater Cutlass Twitch, especially with someone like Sona coming in, using that Crescendo there as well. I like that both supports have Ruby Crystals, by the way. I guess they're probably going to go for a fast Sightstone, but they're like, we don't need other items. Let's just get this stuff out of the way. Use the early consumables where we can, and just try and get the Ruby Sightstone up ASAP.
Yeah, and you'll probably still see a Philistone come out on Sona eventually, just to have that mana regen to spam the heals in the mid to late game, but no need to rush it. I mean, it's not so much for the gold generation, but the stats, but of course the Sightstone, just to have that little bit of extra vision in the early game.
And looks like Zed here, very comfortable in this particular lane. That's up Jarvan, doing fine. Actually, behind just a little on CS there, I guess. Not really his lane opponent at this point because of all the swaps, but his traditional opponent Renekton is a few CS ahead, but looks like he's having some fun here as Zed pushes down the bottom lane. And as you said, this is the point where he wants to be here, as White's going to look to trade here up against K9s, but Renekton just gets in there with some damage. Nothing too crazy coming out. You can see that ping's actually onto Dragon there, coming out from positive energy. They can see them clearing out those wards, you have to assume. Could be a 2-man there. I think Vi and Pantheon thought about it, but don't quite want to go for it at this point here. White's actually gets completely destroyed by Ruthless Predator in the top lane. And some action is happening here. Vi, Lucky really needs to make some impact if he can. He's level 6 as Vi. That ultimate is absolutely incredible as a single target CC, but unfortunately neither jungler has really gotten in a position to really get in and be aggressive.
And after the Vi nerfs, it feels like if you don't get going in the early game, you kind of initiate then explode. I mean, you're not able to build that Sphere of the Elder Lizard that was always so core on Vi if you're just stuck with the Spirit of the Elder Lizard at the 20-minute mark. You need to get tanky to be able to be a threat after your ultimate, to have some sustained damage in a fight. But without snowballing, and of course snowballing slightly harder on Vi after the nerfs, she's just a risky champion.
Yeah, I mean, a high-impact ultimate, but I think risky is the right word there. Looks like bottom tower's actually quite low in there as well. So Zed, he's happy in this spot. He's been pushing. He's got his Brutalizer up. He's ready to go. And that bottom tower is probably going to be the first to fall here as Positive Energy are going to pick that one up. It looks like top lane, but actually coming up the top. Fizz with a great ult in there as well. They're trying to get through for the damage, but the ultimate for Renekton ticking away, I think, going to make that close to impossible. And Royal there, a very nice combo there, using the Fizz ult, Chum the Waters into that Assault and Battery there for Vi, but not enough there, and Positive Energy going to get the best end of that trade there. They take out the bottom turret, and they're going to pick up Dragon as well.
Yeah, no death and picking up a Dragon, definitely a win there for Positive Energy.
Looks lucky fighting the invisible golems right now. Always fun to see. But I mean, I think from all this posturing, I mean, the scoreline's fairly even. Positive Energy with a slight lead, getting the first turret and the first dragon. But even more than that, I think that just having Jojo in a comfortable spot where he's able to farm and able to push is really bad news for Royal here as we approach the 12-minute mark.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the Royal comp's all about early aggression, because you've got the assassins with high base damage. Even the support has high base damage and assassination potential. But it feels like we'll hit a point where Positive Energy will be able to peel for their Twitch, who's way ahead, already got 118 CS, probably very close to Spade the Ruin King. It feels like the game will hit a point where Positive Energy pull through based on their comp. I mean, it's not a certainty in any way, but Assassin's late game pastry time, not always the strongest.
Bad news for Jarvan, their Deathmark coming through, but Lucky going to turn it around. Does not have ultimate this time, but there's a Cataclysm out from Jarvan as everybody flashes out of the way. A kick back in there as well. And Vi going to maybe try and make something happen. Could getting there with the Q, but decides just excessive force and minions, giving up on that gank there. And so nice posturing there from Jing and Jojo down the bottom lane, but still no more kills. Only one apiece here. I mean, markedly different from the first game of this day's play. But I mean, certainly these two teams, you said, really fighting for standing seat. Certainly quite evenly matched here, and it definitely shows in the first few minutes of this game.
And we can never expect OMG to be the norm when it comes to pace setting in a day's play. They're always going to be on the aggressive side of things, but I can see how with the Fizz pick, with the Vi pick, with the Jarvan top and the Pantheon support, you expected aggression out of here from Royal, but they haven't been able to translate that into kills just yet.
No, and there is a Blade of the Ruin King now on the PE side. Looks like actually they're going to go for a tower dive here, but Zed in with a good timing. Tabe down the bottom lane trying to make it happen, but Lee Sin gets out of the way. They go for the dive anyway. Assault and Battery on top there. He lands in after the stun for Pantheon, and Tabe again engineers a masterful tower dive there, even blocking that tower hit as he walks away as well. And no bad news for Uzi though. He's going to get 1v1 here. Blade of the Ruin King, Twitchy dodges True Shot Barrage and walks away slowly there, even going so far as to practically dive that Ezreal. And as you said, Name ahead there on Twitch, getting more ahead now with that 1v1 in mid.
Yeah, two highly fancied AD carries showing off a lovely duel there, but Name had the smooth moves to pick it up there. The Blade of the Ruin King's such a big early pickup. I mean, the ability to slow, the ability to hold Ezreal into the lane. I mean, even with Arcane Shift, wasn't able to open up enough distance, had to duel, and lost the duel heads up to Name.
Yeah, and Twitch, I mean, a very scary AD carry in almost any situation, especially once he gets his items going. Blade of the Ruin King, not something we've seen a lot on Twitch, although to be fair, we haven't seen a lot of Twitch lately, certainly in games that I can recall, but it makes a lot of sense here. It's just a great item generally. As I think you've said a lot, Papa, it's basically the perfect dueling item, and Twitch is a fine duelist for all his late game carry potential.
Yeah, if you look over to the Korean scene, there's been that massive explosion in Vayne, which obviously people are starting to talk about Vayne nerfs and that sort of thing, but Vayne is very, very popular. There's a massive explosion in Ahri because both those champions, they scale fairly well, but they have that dueling. I mean, you don't think of Twitch necessarily as a dueler, but the ability to ambush on top of someone, activate Blade of the Ruin King, and then just explode them, and you have like that 1,000, 1,100 range when you activate Spray and Pray. The ability to delete someone off the map, then to keep pushing down a lane as an AD carry, is a massively, highly desirable thing, and that's why we're starting to see more and more Twitch.
Yeah, and Name here, off to a great start here. You can see the CS, I mean, Uzi, as expected, keeping pretty close on pace here, despite having not a great lane, but 2-0-0 for Twitch is not a good start. I mean, I guess if you're a Positive Energy fan, it is. And I mean, we're expecting a Blade of the Ruin King here. Saw the first one on Twitch, and I imagine Zed's is going to follow eventually, but it looks like he's actually building something. He has a lot of swords, I'll tell you that much. Got 2 long swords and a brutalizer here. Looks like gonna go back to base.
Maybe doing a bit of role-playing in pastry time, because I mean, Zed and swords, I can definitely see the synergy.
It was enough for Blue to want to cut this, actually, because of course that is Advanced Scepter plus Longsword in there for that one. So he does have that completed up now, and looks like it will be Blade of the Ruin King.
I mean, there used to be that build flexibility in Zed builds once upon a time. There used to be maybe some Bloodthirst to Zed coming out, but it's Blade of the Ruin King all the way these days, so that's the pickup.
Yeah, Bloodthirst is usually when you're very, very confident in your Zed build and you really want to get your snowball going. But, you know, you can kind of, not quite snowball, but just almost guarantee your farm just getting that Blade of the Ruin King. And as you said, going up to split push. And Jojo here's having some fun, maybe a little bit behind on CS, or at least further behind than he might like to be. But he's got this bottom lane basically all to himself. He pushed down the first turret. One of the 3 now, actually, that Positive Energy had, as they've been doing a lot of work around the map. And I mean, he's going to keep going here. You can see him on your mini-map just kind of going hard as he can down the bottom. And once he gets Blade of the Ruin King, it's going to be practically impossible for him to get 1v1 here. But I like the response here from Royal. They're trying to take out the mid-turret, and looks like they are going to get it.
I guess it'll be interesting to see.
Oh my god, Crescendo coming through, that's so aggressive. Panther coming through there as well. Sika trying to make the play, but Cataclysm over the top there. Vi taking quite a bit of damage, but they're on top of Twitch and they pick him up as Fizz gets that one there as well. Jing now trying to get out of the way, assassinated by a spear as Panther comes through, but K9's in here as well. Jojo rotated towards from the bottom as well. He W's forward, he's trying to find the last kill. Jarvan, smooth moves there, trying to get out of the way, and Sika, not enough damage. It takes a tower hit, maybe that's going to be enough. But Godlike still trying to get out of the way. Can he live up to his idea right now? He is on the great escape. He's out of mana. He's almost out of health. But he's still going here, regenerating where he can. I think he might be able to get out of this one. But Zed's coming around the side here as well. And Godlike, the race is on. He's actually going to the tower. He's trying to assassinate himself. Is it going to be enough? He's taking one more hit. And not enough. There is the shadow, I believe, from Zed takes him out. And poor Godlike, all that work and he still gets killed.
I mean, when we talk about League of Legends in this day and age, Pace Jam, it's all about taking kills and snowballing any kill trade you can win into objectives. And the one thing that he bought there was a lot of time for his team to get into place. They might be able to contest Dragon, maybe didn't buy just quite enough time, but a nice idea definitely coming up from Godlike.
Yeah, unfortunately at that point, looks like enough time for Dragon to respawn there, and Positive Energy will pick that one up here. They've got themselves a nice little lead here as we tick up towards the 18-minute mark in this game. They're at 4,500 gold or so ahead. Looks like Tabe going to get jumped on as well. But the Ruin King from Name going to slow him down. A death mark will wipe him off the map, so another kill there for Positive Energy. Up to 7 and 4 now in kills. 3-1, of course, now in turrets. And, you know, a nice clean 5,000 gold lead or so at this point, which at this point of the game, they're probably quite happy with.
And I guess, you know, my initial feeling that he will eventually outscale Royal. I mean, they're ahead here, so I guess we'll have to see whether that translates into these late game team fights. But a lot of ultimates used to pick the Pantheon, but he's definitely dead.
Yeah, a lot of posturing back and forth there. Jarvan actually got quite aggressive, used his ultimate in there as well, but doesn't quite get anything done. Lee Sin used his as well, so both the top lane and the jungler there, you know, kind of making some stuff happen. Lucky though, looking for it. He knows he needs to kill Nami. His Salt and Battery on the top there, but that's not enough there for Vi. Jarvan coming to himself, but no ultimate to follow up. Charm the Waters comes in there as well. There's the Cataclysm. He does have a backup, excuse me, but Name picks him up. Then no help from the team, and I mean, both Jarvan and Vi known for very strong long-range initiation, but I think you can kind of see the problem of diving onto such a carry there that his team really, really wants to protect. As you said, Papa, the problem with Vi is when you go in and you just get exploded, and White's here going to go down as well. I mean, Name was never afraid of dying there in that spot, and that's really, really scary for Royal.
And when you have that Vi, it's a lot like Zac. You want to have people that can dive in and support. I mean, same with Nocturne as well. And they do have dive buddies here. Theoretically, Jarvan can be there with Lucky. I mean, Whites can be there on the Fizz. Even Tabe can be ulting in, but they haven't been able to translate the ability to dive onto this fairly immobile Twitch into kills. And the Twitch is just getting stronger and stronger. 5, 1, and 2 is Name at this point. You have to fear for Royal here. They had an idea. They had an idea of what they wanted to achieve this game. Doesn't look like it's going to come together.
Yeah, one of the nice things about Blade of the Ruin King as well is we see Zed picks his own up there. So Jojo is now ready to full-on split push and get this game going. He is very, very scary right now. But, you know, one of the nice things, we saw Blade of the Ruin King a lot on Varus, actually, who's a champion that is also very immobile. And one of the nice things that gives you a little self-peel as an AD carry, up on top of all the other awesome stuff it does. So, definitely Name there. I mean, he used it aggressively before out of to slow down Pantheon. Sure, he used it there in that last fight to kind of peel someone off for himself there as well. And as you said, if there's no support, Papa, Twitch just gets free reign and kills everybody.
Yeah, and this Twitch is massive. The Phantom Dance is completed. Even a sneaky Chain Vest here. Not sure if he's going to turn that into a Guardian Angel just now, but just a bit of armor against, all the dive that's coming out from the Royal side.
Yeah, that's almost all AD actually on Royal there. Fizz is the only one that's not doing a massive amount of AD damage. Just doing some. Looks like they're going to go in for seal there. Uzi again going to get caught out here. The damage coming through. He flashes over. Name really wants it. Uzi does just get away there. Expunged not quite enough. The poison's enough. Oh no. Uzi's got to feel hard done there by that one. Deadly Venom's going to clean him up.
Yeah, the poison ticks, they troll you pastry time. It just lasts more ticks than you expect. It's definitely more ticks than an Ignite tick, for example. And picks up another kill.
Yep, and very aggressive. They use his Blade of the Ruin King aggressively to initiate. Flashed over the top there after Arcane Shift was used, and you can even see the wards being put down. Lucky pops the Oracles there to clean out that ward that Renekton put in. But the push is going to come out here from Positive Energy. They're looking poised to really just try and do something here. As you said, Papa, you get a kill, you need to make something of it. They're going to try and take out the tier 2 turret here in top lane. White's actually Playful Trick is out of the way as Canines was very aggressively posturing there. And Positive Energy pick up yet another turret here. 5-1 now for that. Oh goodness, baddies for Lucky as well. Crescendo coming through. They kicked in there as well and cleaned off the map. I believe before Deathmark could proc. In fact, he didn't even use it. That was just a bit of damage there for Jojo.
No luck for Vi this game, basically.
Oh, it looks like Pantheon's going to try and make something happen. Cataclysm used. They're going to set up the combo. Damage coming through in there as well. But Name way too strong there. Picks up Javan. Pan looks kind of low as well. Charm the Waters picks up him though. That could be good news, but it's not enough to follow up there. Fizz dies in there as well. A 3-for-1 trade there as Royal finally pick up the kill onto Twitch, but that's probably too many people to throw in there for that one. I mean, they need to kill him, but that's a little bit too much.
The one thing you can say, though, is that once Twitch dies, they have no ranged champions bar the Sona to siege down turrets. Their siege is very... I mean, Twitch himself isn't an ideal turret sieger, only with the 550 range, having to use his ambush to get any sort of attack speed steroid. He's not the ideal person to be auto-attacking down turrets. And, whenever he's in range of so many assassins on this Royal side. So they can recreate that and have him die. At least they're not likely to lose the key objectives they can't afford to lose. For example, their inner turrets or that inhibitor.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. They basically they lost 3 members, killed Twitch, and kept their middle inhibitor turret.
And didn't lose any further objectives. And that's a very a good thing if you're a Royal fan.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like a good trade on paper, but when you think about the position Royal have in this game, they'll take it at this point. They almost need to just slow the game down and get some farm. They'll take some picks if they can get them, but if they keep their key structures up, they can do stuff like still contest for Baron. And, at this point, it's not looking great for Royal. They're pretty far down in gold here at this point. Although, again, they're trying to even that back up as best they can. Ooh, very sneaky here. I think waiting for Zed, hoping he would accidentally press W and Living Shadow towards them all, but does not quite work out. And Royal just forced to defend here for a little while longer. And looks like maybe some split push down the bottom is going to happen again. And, I agree, in fact, that they don't have a whole lot of siege without Twitch, but at least they have a lot of split push with Zed. And, they do silly amounts of AD damage between Zed and Twitch.
Yeah, and if they can ever engineer a situation where Renekton's the person tanking a turret, I mean, damage is not a problem for Positive Energy whatsoever. If they have the right people tanking the turret, they will get that complete ace down.
I mean, if they really want to, they can activate Twitch's ultimate, but I think Spray and Pray is probably too important to be used to take out a turret here. Positive Energy, though, will be able to take out this Dragon now as well, so clearly just complete control of the map at this point here. Pressuring down the bottom for the turret as well. They pick up their 6th one of the game as Dragon goes down, and the gold lead right now, we're over 10k ahead for Positive Energy, and Royal really have to make something happen here.
And we see here that the second completed item on the on Jojo here is the Black Cleaver, which of course he does have AoE abilities. He will get that armor shred down the enemy team. Happy days for Twitch combining with that armor shred.
Absolutely, just lots and lots of damage. I mean, Royal here, they're posturing. They know Baron is available. 25 to 30 minutes is very common. In fact, if you're ahead at this point, Positive Energy may have thought about it 5 minutes ago. But Royal need to make sure that doesn't happen. Oracles on both junglers at this point. Certainly either team has one. I mean, Royal, they've lost a lot here. I think at this point, if they don't lose anything else, they're going to feel happy about it. Because you can lose a whole bunch of charts. It's obviously bad. You can tell the gold lead clearly in their favor here. Oh, Canines, I think, going to go, and they want Nama. They find him. Damage coming through. Fizz in there as well. And that's a dead Twitch. Exactly how they want their fight to go. They even trap Renekton in the Cataclysm there. He's going to fall down there. He actually flashes out of the way, but it's not nearly enough to get him out of that one. And if there was a way for Royal to engineer their fight, that was absolutely brilliant from them.
And if they can turn this into a big objective here, we're getting Uzi closer and closer to that kind of blue Ezreal tipping point. When he gets that last whisper here, or whatever his next pickup will be, a big influx in damage, because he's got the core down, he's got the mana moon stacking up to the Mirror mana, and he's got the control that Gauntlet provides out, but he just doesn't compare in damage to Twitch quite yet.
No, especially Twitch that has Blade of the Ruined King, Phantom Dancer, and working on the Last Whisper pretty soon in here as well. Unfortunately for Royal, though, not able to convert. Do not have Baron. In fact, have nothing but the few kills there on Twitch. I mean, lucky here. Going to find Jing there, do a little bit of damage, but Vi doesn't really want to fight here. Thankfully, Tabe coming through on Pantheon. In fact, the rest of Royal basically coming in here. I mean, this is 4 people to secure their red buff at this point, which, unfortunately for them, is not where they want to be. In fact, they're still going to contest for it here. Jojo maybe looking to snipe it off. Lee Sin finds a Q there. In fact, they could follow up with a kill, but I think, did Zed take that? I think Jarvan has it. No, I think Zed has it. Never mind.
Important to know that Mirror mana is completed for Ezreal here. A big power spike, despite the fact that you didn't have to go back and purchase anything for it.
Which is one of the nice things about those transform items, isn't it? Kind of part of the reason.
I mean, 26 minutes, a little bit later than the old part times we were seeing, when we saw the 18 to 20 minute Jaces with Mirror mana, but it'll do. It's another spike in damage power and sorely needed for this Ezreal.
Yep, and I'm interested to see what Uzi goes for next in his item build. I have to imagine, though, as you mentioned, it's probably going to be Last Whisper.
I mean, we look at the front line here. Renekton, I mean, he's not going to be doing any damage to Renekton. Lee Sin's already got, he has the Ninja Tabby, he has the little bit of armor from Aegis. Armor already coming out from Twitch and Zed. I think it has to be the Last Whisper based time.
Yeah, Positive Energy now going to group in the mid lane here. See ambush activated for Name. If he has to, he'll happily Blade of the Ruined King somebody. And there we are. A pickaxe so he picked up there for Uzi. He was standing in base for just a couple seconds to make sure he finished that one up here. But again, Royal put to the test here in the mid lane. The siege potential not great here. They could potentially move Zed over and look for some split push, but really at this point, all Positive Energy really want is control the map, although they do need to get their oracles going again. Do not have one, unfortunately. And Baron's being pinged on here. This would be a very aggressive push on the Baron for Positive Energy. Although, never mind. I think they must have it. Oh, no, there's a Sight Ward, sorry. They do not have oracles, but they do have the Baron pit warded.
They want to force the issue pastry time. They're waiting for the wards to run low here on the Royal side, and they still fancy a fight, despite the fact that Name has been assassinated twice.
Yeah, and Tabe's Oracle's coming through. The Godlike actually kick back in. Name activates ult, but Tabe's coming over the top. They're lucky. Finds the ultimate over the top, and I don't know if that's enough. He's dead, actually, but everybody else coming through there. That Cataclysm on top as well, trying to trap Twitch in there, and Jarvan gets himself out there very quickly with an EQ combo out the side. Uzi bleeding low there as well. In fact, in and amongst all the chaos, only one casualty, and it was poor Lucky who committed everything to make sure that Twitch still got ulted. But Positive Energy very healthy after that fight. Name able to lifesteal plenty of life back up there and wasn't even close to dying there despite all the resources put in. And I think at this point they are going to be able to pick up this Baron. Uzi has True Shot Barrage. I can see him in the mid lane. I think he's looking for the steal here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. In fact, doesn't even throw it. Oh no, he does. Never mind. There it goes. Whee! But unfortunately for Ezreal, not going to hit.
Yeah, it was a complete estimate from Uzi there. Sometimes you look like a champion when you pick up the steal, but much more often than that, just trying in vain.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, but as you said, Uzi basically in the dark there for that one, and a very, very clean Baron there for Positive Energy. And, they had a good lead before with Baron now as well, can really look to try and close out this game if they want to. And, I mean, Papa, if you're Royal at this point, 10,000 gold behind, losing Baron buff, basically losing the map here as Jojo picks up the blue buff. This guy, man, does he know how to steal buffs. But I think
it's just a real struggle if you're Royal pastry time, and you don't have the wave clear outside the Ezreal ultimate.
Cute move there from White. Actually, Zonya's up there. Almost killed Jojo, actually. In fact, he's very, very low. Almost looked like he popped a red pot there to survive, but I don't think he has one of those. So just able to live there. Probably a Sona heal, actually, would have been what it was, the Sona W. Well, looks like looking for the snipe. True Shot Barrage, not quite going to clip him. And Zed's going to be safe there. Back to base in a hurry. Even with the home guard boots as well. So he's going to be back quick, smart to lane. Positive Energy still in a good spot here, and just before Whites was getting in there. I mean, Royal, do they just sit here and wait out the Baron buff?
I mean, they can afford to give up everything here short of an inhibitor turret. Everything else is fair game because they need certain item milestones to be hit. They need the Last Whisper on Uzi, for example, because they really struggle in terms of wave clear, but they have amazing hard initiation. They just need the damage follow-up from Uzi here on the very mobile blue Ezreal to be able to make that initiation count for anything.
Well, unfortunately, Royal have given up everything but the inhibitor turrets at this point. So if they can hold from this point, especially with the Baron buff on PE, then maybe they're not looking too bad. I mean, they've shown willingness to engineer fights that are favorable for them. They understand the threat that Name's Twitch is right now. You know, they've clearly made some very, very nice, very coordinated moves to try and kill that Twitch. And when they have, they've looked quite good. But when we saw in the last fight, if you throw absolutely everything, not quite enough, especially as Twitch gets stronger, and especially with that item pickup. We've got Guardian Angel picked up by Name.
And that, you know, that kind of nullifies a lot of the threat here, because even if they burst down Nami, there's still damage. There's still Jojo super, super strong on this Zed in the mid lane. I mean, Renekton will be taking damage over time there. Lee Sin does a respectable amount of damage. When his flash is up here, and that's probably what they'll wait for here. Nami will probably wait for his flash cooldown before the next fight. When his flash is up, very, very safe is this Twitch, I think.
You can see Positive Energy just moving through the jungle here, going to take out that red buff. See GA up on Twitch, there's one up on Zed there as well. He's got his Black Cleave with Lost Blade of the Ruin King. Got Ambush plus Oracles here that could maybe try and set up some sort of very sneaky invisible setup, but I don't think Royal really want to leave their base at this point. And I mean, at this point, I think the scariest thing is they can just go in and dive now. That was not, you know, we mentioned Positive Energy doesn't have the greatest sieging here. Renekton is stupidly tanky at this point, with Spirit Visage added to his items as well. I mean, they can just go in here, they're going to try and go for it. Jarvan coming in as well. Tabe wants to get in for it. Lucky trying to find the ultimate, can't quite get the line. A great ult there from Sika as Tabe gets obliterated there by Name. But Twitch is going to go back into the fight, but the rest of the team diving through. Plenty of kills coming out there as K9's picked it up. And I think the scariest thing here is Royal getting the floor wipe with them, as Lucky the last one to go down. Uzi actually still alive, excuse me, Ezreal is still alive, as you kind of expect him to be, but 4-1 there with Ezreal almost dying in there as well. The inhibitor falling in the mid there. Twitch only killed Tabe, and that still wasn't enough for PE to not kill the rest of Royal.
I look, the triple assassin team here faced your time. A noble effort to take down this, you know, on the paper at least, fairly defenseless Twitch, but it didn't work out. GG, well played to Positive Energy.
And for all the cute tricks there, for the support Pantheon, for all the awesomeness, not enough there for Royal, unfortunately. And a great game there, as you said, by Positive Energy, of course. We're here for Week 3, Day 1 coverage. If you'd like to see more, please go ahead and go to youtube.com/LOLChamp series. You can catch all the VODs there. And, of course, you can catch the next game that we'll have up, as well as we continue our coverage here of the Tencent LPL Summer.